Is everybody excited for today's episode about Tikit APIs? I know I am. I know Ben is.
Very excited.
Very excited. All right, I'm going to dive in. Again, thanks everybody for showing up for these Ticket Training Tuesdays. We actually do have some fun with them and enjoy doing them, so we appreciate when folks turn up for them. I will jump right into our agenda. As I said, today we're talking about Ticket APIs, and I'll get into more about that in a moment. Here's the agenda. I'm welcoming you now, discussing the housekeeping. We are going to be recording. If someone will start recording, that means me.
It's automatic.
Nope. Okay, thank you for that. I about stopped it. So we are recording, and this will be available at a later date on YouTube. So if you want to watch it again or whatever, it's available. Just bear that in mind if you're interacting, which we do encourage you to do. Come off of mute, ask questions, etc. We're happy to have that interaction. Again, we do this every Tuesday for a few more weeks. I don't remember exactly how many weeks we have remaining, but we do these in kind of like a season of a show. And so we have a few weeks remaining. And yeah, if there's sessions that you want to see, information that you would like to know, definitely let us know that, and we'll do our best to hit those. Again, thanks for attending today. A little bit about me. My name is Justin. I've spoke with some of you before. I'm on the customer success team, and that means I'm trying to make you as our customer successful with Tikit. And that comes in many different forms, from answering questions all the way up to explaining Tikit APIs and what can be done with those. And so I will jump into that for just a moment before we get into the demo. What are the Tikit APIs? Well, it is a way for you or us to interact with Tikit in another manner beyond the Teams interaction or beyond the web interaction that we're all used to. We can create tickets, we can see tickets, we can see other things around the environment. And the primary purpose of using an API, and particularly the Tikit API, is around automation or integration with other systems. We need to understand what payloads come out of Tikit when things happen. And with the API, we can do a get against the API and see what that payload looks like. Or we can actually post to the API and create a record, whether that's a ticket or a template, even things like that. We can do that with the Tikit API. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into my demo. Give me one moment while I pull that up. Let me know if you can see my screen. I can't see anything visually now because the Teams the share has shifted. Anybody, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we are introducing today this new document that we have produced. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but this is our official Tikit API documentation. I was going to put the link in the chat if somebody else can do that for me. My Teams is like gone. I can't see Teams at all. All I can see is my share. So if Ben or Jeff, if one of you guys could drop that link. It's very simple, tikitapi.cyerson.com. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Tikitapi.cyerson.com. You can come here and you can see most of the endpoints available. We do intend to expand this a little bit further. There are a couple of things that we're still working on, but at the very minimum, you can do gets, as you can see on screen, against these endpoints that are available. There's a few of them that have posts available where you can, like, for example, create a ticket, and I'm going to get into that here shortly. One point I want to hit is you can actually execute these endpoints. You can do a get or a post against the ones that are indicated with a get or a post. And what does that mean? That means you can read tickets, for example. I can get all the tickets in my environment, and I can do that simply by hitting this execute button. But there's a caveat to that, because the Ticket API requires authentication. You have to supply a token. And if you've ever done any of our reporting integration or things like that, you've done this API token process before, but I do want to go through that quickly. Go to settings. You saw me about to click on settings. I'll go ahead and click on settings. Go to access token. I'm going to create a new token. I'm going to set the expiration for tomorrow, so it only lasts for today. I'm going to call it Ticket API. And I'm going to go ahead and leave everything checked because I'll be clicking around some of these endpoints. If you might want to just scope it down to just agents, depending on what you're trying to do. I'm going to leave everything checked because, again, I'll be using most of the endpoints. It's going to give me my token. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to bring it into the document, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to set my token, and I'm going to get a warning. And the reason for the warning is we are actually interacting with your live ticket instance. And so if you do anything in here, particularly with posts or with patches, which aren't available yet, but in the future they will be, you're adding a live token to a live system. And so just be advised that if you're doing anything with the API, it has a potential impact on your tickets and what's in Ticket, the system. But I have set my token. You can see I'm now authenticated, and now I can just get going. If I go down here and get tickets, so first you see we get a response schema. Did I click on get tickets? I might have hit it. There it is, get tickets. You can see the response schema. This is what the schema is going to look like if I were to execute this, which I'm going to do here in just a moment. But it tells you all the types. So for each one of these endpoints, we have a response schema. So you can see, like, when I execute get against ticket template and I supply an ID for that, which I actually do intend to do here in just a moment, this response schema will tell you the type that you're going to get back for each one of the fields in the payload that you're going to get back. So we're going to get an object back. The first field is going to be this OData context. It's going to be a string. The next is going to be the name. That's going to be the actual name of the template. Again, type is string. Type is string on the description. We're going to get a card response JSON. Again, I don't have to go through all these, you get the idea, but we're getting the type. And why that's important is if you're automating, like in Power Automate, for example, sometimes you need to know the type when you get the payload back so you can do various things with it. For example, integer versus string, you want to handle those differently. A string will have quotes, an integer will not. The values may look similar, but again, with a string, you'll want quotes. With an integer, you won't want quotes. So again, just the various types that you get back, and you can hide that. You can also see a response example. So again, I'm going to execute an actual example here in just a moment, but this is kind of what you can expect, not types, but values. These are all nulls because, again, it's just an example. I'm actually going to go ahead and just supply a template ID. I was going to look at my templates. I have this hardware request and it just has one ticket against it. And so how do I know my template ID? It's up here in the URL. And so that is what I'm going to supply to this endpoint, get ticket template by ID. You can see the path here of that. And then in parentheses, it collapses and expands when you click on each of the endpoints. That's what I just did there. In parentheses, we have this variable of template ID. And so when I enter my template ID here, which again, that value is going to be 3 because that's the ID of the template that I want to look at. That's what's going in between these parentheses. And we actually have code examples as well. So if you're using something like PowerShell, for example, again, you can see that that template ID is going between those parentheses, same in JavaScript, same in curl. I'm going to supply that value. I'm going to hit execute and I'm going to get a response. So again, you can see the title of my template is hardware request. The description is test. If you go back over here, you can see those values here. You can see, all of the values that are filled out for the template, including the card response JSON. So this is the definition of that form that comes through in the template and renders in Ticket Virtual Agent or in the web when someone asks a question that's associated with this template. So again, just being able to interact with Ticket, being able to see what's in the system is very helpful in terms of automating and integrating. And yeah, that is basically what I want to show. I'm going to do a post as well. On when we have a post, we have other fields in the payload body that has to be there. And in the post, we also have request examples. So in this one, for example, we have this I need help status ID of 16. Another good use case for using the Ticket API document. I'm going to post this payload body in here, and then I'm going to come back to that. Another good use case is some of these list values. So for example, in this one, we're providing status ID is 16. Well, I don't know what that is. I don't know what category ID 1 is. I don't know what priority ID 12 is. I don't know what any of that means, but I can come to these lists over here and I can say get category values. And if I execute that, it's going to tell me this is value networking ID of 1. And so on and so forth. Onboarding ID of 2. So when I'm looking at this create ticket and I'm looking at this payload status ID of 16, come back up here to list, get status values. Status of 16 is value active. And so when I actually pull the trigger on creating this ticket, it's going to have a status of active because I'm giving it the status ID of 16. And the same with category. We can look and see what that's going to be. I think we pulled that back. Category ID of, that's status. Category of 1 is going to be networking. And so that's what's going to be created when I create this ticket, which I'm about to do now, and I just hope that it works. Brilliant, it did work. So we get a response. This is the ID of the ticket that was created. It was created using team 1, all the stuff that I provided it. So if I go back to ticket and I look for 2447, there you go, 2447, I need help. So you can see not only are we able to read values out of ticket, we're able to put values into ticket. Any questions about the Ticket API or the doc? Don't steal my token. Ben, you got a question?
Yes, maybe you could clarify. So for the properties that you don't set a value for, how are those being added to the ticket when you post a create ticket?
They'll either be a default value or they'll just be null. So like, for example, I didn't provide a resolution date. Well, it's just going to be null. The default value is going to be null. Due date, for example, is a great one. Due date is going to be null. If I wanted to, I could provide a due date. It's got to be in a pretty specific format, which I'll probably mess up here. But if I do due date, I should have a date value. Yeah, so here's a date value. This is the format that it has to be in. It's a UTC date format. If I give that like a couple hours in the future. Hopefully that's all looking right. I got a response back. You can see I did get a due date that time, which is what I passed in. But when I didn't supply the due date, it was just null or a default value. I think most of those are going to be null. Yeah, I like pretty much everything that would have a default value, like all of our lists, I supplied a value. So, but if you supply if there's a field that has a default value, that's what it will default to, or null. Good question. Any other questions? I want to look at this ticket real fast. If I just go back to tickets, I should have another one called I need help, and it should have a due date of today, but it's 2 hours in the future. Cool. One more chance for questions. Okay, this one was pretty straightforward. We are excited about the Tikit API.
Question.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So in the ticket, it says that it's created by the ticket service, but is there a way to route it so that the person that created the requester is the one that is making the ticket?
Yeah, you can set the requester ID. I mean, I can flip back to that document, but you can set the requester ID as the ID of that user, which you can, I mean, yeah, let me go back to that. The person that created it is going to be whoever is using the token. Like the token value is going to be the creator, but the requester can be whoever you want it to be. There is a requester ID property on the ticket. Does that make sense?
Because in ticket itself it says created by, so the same thing happens in Power Automate too, I guess. So you wanted the person who like created the requester to be the one who created the ticket. Is there no way to get around that, per se?
So I'm struggling to understand the question. I apologize. It's my fault. But in my case, and let's talk about mine so I can understand it. Ticket service created the ticket. The reason ticket service created this ticket is because I'm logged in as ticket service. I generated the token. That's who's the creator. That's always going to be who the creator is. If you use that token, that's who's going to be the creator. There's no way around that. The requester is someone different. This is my Justin admin user, who I'm not logged in as, didn't interact with at all in this instance. The reason Justin admin is the requester is because Justin admin is requester ID 4. And so if you need variation between the creator and the requester, that's how you achieve it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay. Does that help answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. It's a good question. I mean, it's definitely worth noting. Like I said, ticket service created the ticket, and again, that's because ticket service generated the token. But we can always supply a requester or affected users or assignee, whatever, in the ticket creation process via the API.
Okay. Sounds good.
And again, it's just like you mentioned Power Automate, and I didn't quite understand the use case there, but in Power Automate, whoever's logged into Power Automate, whoever's connected to the ticket service in Power Automate, when they create the ticket using the create ticket action in Power Automate, they're going to be the one creating the ticket, just like ticket service created the ticket. The requester is different. If an end user goes to Ticket Virtual Agent and submits a ticket that way, they're going to both create and be the requester. But if you're creating it externally via the API or with Power Automate, it's going to be created from a different person compared to the requester, typically.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Good question. Any other questions? Okay, well, I am going to say thank you again for showing up. We really do appreciate it. Again, if there's anything you would like to see, definitely feel free to reach out. I think most of you know how to get a hold of us. So reach out to us and we'll do our best to provide the value and content you want to see. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.